Hello, this is Art, and I wanted to follow up with you regarding visitors call and your willingness to help in calling visitors to the church. Um, I've included in the email that I sent to you with this link a document which is very broad and just gives you a general description of what we're doing. And usually, what I do is, upon receipt of your application, I will call you. I will send that to you, ask you to look at it, and see if you could schedule with me a 20 to 30 minute time frame where we can go over what this presentation covers. What I've done is I've automated it with an audio snippet just so that I can be more effective in reaching more of you at the same time. So the purpose of this is to give you some more background on Visitors Call and what we do, and in the end, we will provide a walkthrough of a conversation the way I do it. Um, I normally would say it later, but don't be intimidated by these calls. The overview document that I did send to you has like a prescribed script in it. What you need to do is just read it and understand that the main points are that we want to welcome the guest on behalf of Pastor Diego and Cindy, and that we're reaching out to thank them for for them coming to Abundant Living Family Church, and we're calling to see if there's any questions that we can answer for them. I also tell them that I'm interested in gathering their feedback about the church, which is usually positive anyway. So uh, I will show you in the end how I do it. If you understand from reading the template that the prescribed conversation, then you won't have any problem, because what you don't want to do is get on the phone and literally be reading a letter to them, and everybody is different, so you are different. So you are going to deliver this message the way you deliver this message. And that's really the point of this presentation, is to make sure that you understand that. And I'm also going to give you some background about Visitors Call and what we do and how we do it, so that just so that you know. All right. So what I have on the screen here is it's not a pretty document. It's not a presentation. I haven't had time to put something real pretty together, but it's a first crack at it. All right. If I had you for 20 minutes on the phone, these are my notes. This is my notepad. This is what I go through to make sure that I cover the things that I need to cover with you. So just bear with me as I go through it, and just listen attentively. And then by the end, we will set you off on your way with a couple of calls for the next couple of weeks, to let you try it. And if you're comfortable with it, then we'll put you on a team. And as I will be telling you, then that team every other week is up, and we'll get a couple of calls. Okay, so let's do this now. So um, the purpose of the call is to give you a summary overview and the additional background information on what it is that we do. All right. So the visitors' names from Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday are collected, as you all know, and those go into the church database called Fellowship One on Monday morning. Those then are exported to an Excel file and sent to myself and a couple of folks. Now, what we're going to do with that file is we're going to format it into a common format so that everybody sees it the same way every week. That also helps us as we do statistics about how many calls we've made and who's making the calls and who's not. Because if they're all in the same format, it's very easy to put them all together. So anyway, there's a need to have a common format. So we put the church's list into a common format, and we'll send that to you. So you should see it in the same format consistently. One of the important points to tell you is that family groups are highlighted. That if you have a husband and a wife or children that come, they're grouped together on the list, and I highlight them in yellow so that we only make one call to that family. We don't need to be calling each and every person, the husband and then the wife, and then the wife says, well, you just called my husband, why are you calling me again? All right, so we fix that by by grouping them together, coloring them yellow, and assigning them one person to make one call to the family, and that suffices. All right. So let's see. So family groups are highlighted. We used to separate the people into men and women, but we no longer do that. Let me tell you about our call ministry teams themselves. The visitors visitors call sub ministry, is actually separated into two teams. We have a green team and a blue team, headed up by Leah Lewis and Vincent um, Whitfield, respectively. And what that does, it allows us to provide for 1 week on and 1 week off. All right. Um, so what that means is once you end up on that team, you will not have to make calls every week. Every other week, you should be expecting a list. All right. Um, Again, I did mention that what we're going to do is we're going to um, simulate a call, and then we're going to give you two names per week for the next couple of weeks, so that you can get comfortable with the process, going through the links, updating comments, and then when you're comfortable, we'll assign you to one of those teams. All right. Now, let's see. Basically, the list. If I get a list of 50 people, let's say, 50 guests that came in this week, and I have 10 people on the team that's up, blue or green, then obviously I divide 50 by 10, and that means everybody gets 5 people. It's really very simple, very straightforward. Um, and then what'll happen is once I have the document formatted, which and the document is the list of visitors formatted into the common format, and I've taken the team and taken those 10 names and assigned them each the 5 names. All right. So what I'll do then is I will send an email to the calling team, ideally on Tuesday, with a link to Google, which is a shared document. Let me describe Google briefly for you. Google conceptually is what is called a cloud. It allows us to put documents into a place where we can share that document. It's a collaborative workspace, meaning that you can go to that document and you can put your updates in there of your call results, as can other folks. And then they are automatically saved, and then the team lead and myself can monitor the progress. Gone are the days where we have to split up that document and send you your piece and another person their piece, and you all send it back, and then we put it all back together. Those are gone. What a cloud does, it provides a collaborative workspace where we can put a document out there, send you a link, you click on the link, it opens that document for you, you find your names to call, you make your calls, and then you record the results of those calls. Yes, I talked to this person and they loved it, they'll be back, or no, I left a voicemail and I've tried a couple of times, and blah blah blah. All right. So anyway, what I'm saying here is then once I send that email with the link to you, then you open up the link and find the names assigned to you and make your calls. Then you enter your call results into the comments, and when done, you close the window and you're done. Google Docs saves automatically. There really isn't a save button per se, and by closing the window, it will save those documents. In most cases, people, until they're comfortable with it, will not only close the document, but they'll click on the link again to go see and make sure that the updates are there. And nothing wrong with that. That's fine. What you're going to want to do is save that email though, because every time you need to get into that document, that's going to be your key. That's going to be your gateway into that document. You click that link and it opens up the document. Okay. Let me also tell you that with a collaborative workspace, it is possible that somebody might make an error out there. They might destroy your comments. They might just hose up the entire document. Who knows? Okay. But we do take backups regularly of that file to provide a recovery point. Now, it doesn't happen often, but if you feel that you've made a mistake, feel free to contact me or your team lead, and we can easily go back and recover from it. So it's no big deal at all. All right. Again, the link itself, save your emails because the link can be reopened as needed. Um, Comments. If you enter in a comment, uh, if there are critical comments there, they can be escalated. All right. But these are visitors. They're not members. These are visitors. So typically we don't have a lot of things that need to be escalated. If we did, it would be something such as, there was an usher that was terribly rude and somebody wants to complain about them, and then you bring that to my attention and let me be the decider as to whether I want to escalate that or not. All right. That Google document that I'm talking about, it's like Excel. Google has its version um, of Excel. It's a little bit clunky, meaning that it's not as smooth running as Excel. I love Microsoft products, and that's my preference, of course. But Google has their version, and it's just slightly different, but basically the functionality is there, and nothing short of you just getting used to it will, can. It's not the type of thing that I can train on each and everything that you're going to try to do. All right. So the next point that I want to make is that we want to really talk to the visitor. If you come and visit, it would be nice to receive a call the following week, within a week, to tell you, thank you for coming. All right. We lose the effect of that nice touch point. There is no warm and fuzzy feeling if you call somebody 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, and say, hey, I want to thank you for coming to church a month ago. You see, it just doesn't work. All right. So the whole objective of this drill is to get that list into your hands so that you can call somebody and reach out to them and let them know that we know that they were there and thank you very much. All right. Another point is that there's a lot of people that have troubles in life, and a lot of times they'll want to share with you what those are, and that's fine. You can listen, be compassionate, even say a prayer with them if you wish, but you don't want to become tied to that visitor, meaning that we don't want to have them calling you for their needs on an ongoing basis. All right. So there's a real word of caution here. If they're a visitor and they have the questions about the church, they should call the church front office. All right. If they really need counseling or something, they should call the church front office. What you do never want to say is that you will have somebody give them a call back. All right. You never want to say that, because what this means is that if you tell somebody that you'll contact somebody and have them call them back, and that person doesn't call them back, then guess what? Our credibility with that person is gone. And so we never want to put ourselves in that type of position. So just take that for what it's worth. As far as our ministry goes, you can make your calls and do your service at home at your convenience, in hotel rooms, whatever meets your needs. That's why you're here, because you didn't want to be on site, on campus, on a regular basis, or you couldn't. All right. So and that's fine. But I do ask that you attend our monthly meetings, which is every third Saturday of every month. All right. At a minimum, I'd like you to at least make the effort to come at least once per quarter. It's very helpful when we know who we're dealing with, and I like to put faces with names. All right. You know what? This is actually a moot point now. Mentor overseers is not applicable. A visitor is a visitor. That point there is, let me remind you that these are visitors that we are calling. All right. So these visitors are not members, and they're really not entitled to any services of the church. They have to become members to really reap the benefits of being with Abundant Living Family Church. Now, we do have new member orientation every third Saturday of the month, and they're free to walk up or register online. And in saying that, it reminded me about our monthly meeting. Did I mention it was every third Saturday of every month? Okay, and I send out reminder emails. Let's see, a visitor is a visitor. When you make your call, Say a prayer before you call. There are times in my past when I just didn't feel like calling. You know, I had other things on my mind. I just didn't feel like doing it. I'd say a prayer and call. And I've had cases where, you know, I've had the most beautiful calls in those conditions. When I didn't feel like calling, I called, and it was uplifting because somebody told me something or had a need, and it touched me, and you just never know. So say a prayer before you call. It'll give you strength, and it will come through to that person that you are being sincere with them. As far as the comments go in our document, put dates and times there, please. Um, it's important because um, as your team lead looks through the comments, we want to know the date and the time that you tried to make a call. So you can put date, time, left voicemail. And then we see 2 days later you tried again and left another voicemail. And on the third day, sent an email. Well, you know, it's pretty clear in that case, if you do it, what transpired and the amount of time that you invested. So please try to put the date and the time. Um, this next paragraph, this says a lot of things, but here's basically what it is. On the right side of the column there are some questions that someday we will be able to use. Um, and let me describe those to you. One of them is, um, will the member ever become, will the visitor become a member? You can tell that in your conversation whether somebody will or not. If it's not obvious and the conversation presents the opportunity without being awkward to ask if they might become a member. It could be simply as, oh, so you enjoyed it? Oh, very good. Do you think you ever might become a member? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, then there you go. It's really that simple. So there's a column to put yes or no there. Did you in fact speak to somebody? Yes or no. And then I found in the past that there are people that I have spoken with that I really enjoyed speaking with, or I felt that they had that it might be a good idea to have somebody follow up with them and give them a call just to see how they're doing in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. So there's a column there for that as well. Ideally, we would have a team that would do nothing but follow up and follow up to follow up, if you will, and 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 just see how things are going. So there's a column for that as well. So that's really what this is all saying here. We don't use it at this point, but it was thought of and it's there for a purpose. If you most people collect that information anyway. We're just in the habit. If we get enough people and we can build a team like that, then that does that type of thing. The follow up on those, that would be really really nice. All right. Our time frame to call. We want to call them within a week. Let me tell you. Most people, myself, when I call between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. weekdays, Mondays through Fridays. That gives people a chance to get home from work, and it's not too late. Some folks I know will call as late as 9 o'clock. That's fine. If that works for them, then that works for them. All right. Um, so yeah, you know, it just it's really up to you when you call. I mean, if you're home all day and you're calling at 12 o'clock and you don't get an answer, well, there might be a reason for it. So just think about what it is that we're doing and adjust accordingly. All right. Um, Before I provide the call, let me just tell you about leaving voice messages or not. Um, some folks on the first call will leave a voicemail, some won't. On the second call, you should leave a voicemail. We would ask that you try at least twice, if not 3 times, to get a hold of somebody. Some people do not want to leave a voicemail for the visitor on the first call. I guess they would just prefer not to. On the second one, you should. You should. I know myself personally. I'll leave a voicemail introducing myself and just letting them know that I reached out. For me, that's because if I don't get back to them, at least I left them one voicemail that pretty much let them know why I was calling. All right, so that's my prerogative. That's your prerogative. So at this point, I would normally ask if you have any questions, but obviously I can't hear you, so you're not going to ask me any questions. So let me get in. Let me get into a simulated call. Um, so I receive a link from Art or somebody, and I get the email, and I click on that link, and the document opens up for me, and I scroll down, and I find three names assigned to me. So then I go ahead and dial one up, and this is where we pick up. It goes ring, 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 ring. Hello? Hi, my name is Art. I'm from Abundant Living Family Church. How are you doing tonight? I'm doing all right. What can I do for you? Well, I'm calling on behalf of Pastor Diego and Cindy to thank you for coming to church and visiting with us this past weekend. I hope you enjoyed it. But we like to call and follow up to see if there's any questions that we might be able to answer for you, or gather up any feedback that you might want to share. Do you have any questions I can answer? Well, no, not really. Maybe about children's church and things like that. I was wondering how we get our children to sign up. Well, let me tell you that I'm not part of that ministry, but I know guest services can give you that information. Or if you walked in on a Sunday morning before you went to church, you could probably just ask them, and they'll tell you. And in many cases, they'll hook you up with the forms and stuff, and you could probably leave your children at that point in time. But you'd need to contact them, because I'm just calling to call and thank you for coming out. Okay, all right. But so you have no other questions? No. Well, how about did you enjoy your visit? You got any feedback you want to share? Well, no, not really, but it was nice. I enjoyed Pastor Diego's sermon, and worship was nice, and no, we had a pretty good time. Well, great. That's good to hear. Do you think that you might be returning? Sure. Yeah. Why not? I've been looking for a church. Well, wonderful. Well, we're here. We're here for you, and it's a wonderful church. The first time I came, I got hooked, and I haven't stopped since. Okay. Well, do you think if you liked it, you might become a member sometime in the future? Yeah, yeah, it's possible. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I really don't want to take up much more of your time. I just wanted to call and thank you for coming and visiting with us, and see if there was any questions you had that I could answer. So I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much. We do hope that you'll come back and visit us again, and possibly become a member. And if you have nothing else, I would bid you good night, and God bless you. Well, God bless you too, Art. Okay, good night. Click. All right. So the call is over, and now I go to the column in the list, and basically put a date, put a time. Spoke to Joe Smith. Um, enjoyed coming to the church. Enjoyed Pastor Diego's message. And then over in the right hand column, yes, may become a member, and boom, it's done. I put that comment in, and I close the document, and I'm done. Or I make the other two calls, put my comments, close it, and I'm done. And that's really about the extent of it. Now, what I would say is that towards the end of the week, your team lead or myself will be looking at that list to see who's made their calls and who hasn't. It is important that you communicate. If you can't make your calls, let your team lead know. If they send you an email asking if you're going to make your calls, please reply and say yes or no. Yes, I will. I'll do it on Saturday or something. Some people tend to make the calls and then not post their comments. Well, if we don't have visibility to the comments, then we don't know that the call was made. So anyway, that's really the extent of this presentation. I just wanted to give you some feedback, further feedback on the process, and tell you a little bit more about it. So what the next step is going to be is I'm going to go ahead and give you a couple of names for the next 2 weeks, and let you try it out. and then let me know if you have any questions or problems beforehand or during. And then, and if I see that your comments have been posted and everything's going well, I'll go ahead and assign you to a team, and then you'll get calls to make every other week. Okay. So I do thank you for your time this afternoon. I appreciate you joining our ministry. I think you'll enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call at 909-851-7518. But you'll see plenty of emails from me. All right. So thank you very much. Take care. God bless you and your family. Bye bye.